For this entire month on KREM 2, we are highlighting the local people, the culture, and the issues in the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. So the Asian Hall of Fame was established by Seattle's Robert Chun Foundation to recognize trailblazers who are making a difference.
Yeah, so Washington State University's athletic director Pat Chun was inducted into the latest class. He sat down with me to share his story and how his background helps him lead the Cougs. Tell us a little bit about who Pat Chun is.
Well, I always tell anyone who's willing to listen that, my story in sports actually predates my birth. So my dad came to the United States in 1969. My mom followed in 1970. But my dad, his first job was at the downtown YMCA in Youngstown, Ohio. So that odd twist of fate, he actually came here to teach Taekwondo. So I was like, my parents are essentially, I tell them, are a stereotype. My dad's a Taekwondo instructor. My mom literally still works in the as a cashier in the grocery store in her hometown, still to this day. When you're growing up and you're different, you're kind of inward focused. But then as you get older, you kind of you learn over the course of time that, man, what your parents had to go through to come to a different country, to learn a new language. I know a lot of Asian American Pacific Islander parents, they come with this American dream. And my parents were no different. And I tell everyone they had two tools in their tool belt. It was going to be education and a work ethic. But because my dad's first job was in Ohio, I was born in Youngstown, raised in Cleveland, grew up this diehard Ohio State fan. I was one of those kids in a state that wanted to go to the big flagship institution in his home state, and ended up going to Ohio State and graduated from there, but got my start in college athletics there.
Your parents, I'm sure, are extremely proud of you. First athletic director in a Power 5 school as an Asian American. What does that mean to you to have that distinction?
Well, it means my mom can brag at church. So that's probably the most important thing for my mom. But it's one thing to be the first, but it's a problem if you're the last. So I think that's always been my focus, is I recognize the importance of representation. I know growing up in this country, there just weren't a lot of Asian Americans that you would look up that you could just see in sports. Whether it's competing and things, it's just one of those things. If you don't see it, it's just hard to believe it. I always tell people, if you look at who the minority groups or the underrepresented groups are in college athletics, we're the minority of the minorities. So it's nice to be able to celebrate, a lot of the success stories that are going around college athletics, but also it's a nice opportunity to hear a success story of others. Hearing your background story is great to hear. It's awesome to hear someone, it's empowering for everybody when you have representation.
Tell us about the award. I know you're modest about it, but being inducted into the Asian Hall of Fame, what was that about?
When you see the list of people that are in that Hall of Fame, it's really humbling because you have some people that have really done things to change the narrative of Asian Americans in this country. So it's really humbling to be associated with that. But also on the flip side, it's also, I hope, when I look at that award, and when I think about that award, although I personally don't like celebrating it, it is a reflection of everybody associated with my life and my family's life. And that to me is a really, really big thing, really big point of pride for us. Great. I've always been of the belief that the most important word is believe. And what you believe is what you become. And what you believe ultimately dictates your behaviors. And your behaviors ultimately dictate your habits.